You should stay away from our grandkids on Thanksgiving. Those words hit me like a physical slap. My daughter-in-law Brenda stood in her kitchen doorway, arms crossed, her yoga-toned body blocking my view of the living room where the family photos hung. I looked past her. "Where's Ethan?" "At his friend's house. We told him you weren't coming." The turkey sat raw on the counter. My green bean casserole was still in my hands. I'd driven 4 hours from Portland. I'd taken 2 days off from the clinic. "You drove all this way," Brenda said, "but you're not staying. My parents are coming. They respect our rules." I set down the casserole. "What rules?" "No screens before 10. No expensive gifts. No undermining our parenting. Last Christmas, I gave him a tablet." "Exactly. You didn't listen." She stepped closer. "You spoil him. You make him feel like we're not enough. So this Thanksgiving you leave. And you stay away." I turned to my son. Derek stood by the fireplace, scrolling his phone. "Mom," he said, not looking up. "Maybe it's better if you go." I walked to the guest room. My suitcase was already packed. I'd known. Mothers always know that in the nightstand drawer. I reached past the Bible and pulled out the small silver key. The trust fund key. $147,000. Every penny I'd saved. My husband's life insurance. The house I'd sold when I couldn't afford the taxes. All in Ethan's name. I was the trustee. The only one that I slipped the key into my coat pocket. I walked past Brenda, without a word. Past Derek, still on his phone. Outside. Oregon rains soaked my coat. I got into my old Subaru and sat there. I remembered the day Ethan was born. Derek called me crying. "Mom, you're a grandma." I drove through a snowstorm. I held that tiny baby and promised I'd always be there. Now I was being told to stay away. I drove to the nearest motel. Flickering lights. Thin blankets. I paid for 3 nights in my room. I pulled out the key and stared at it. Then I checked my phone. One message from Brenda. "We expect you to respect our boundaries. Do not contact Ethan. We'll revisit this in the new year." I laughed. A bitter, hard sound that I knew what Brenda wanted. 6 months ago, she'd asked about Ethan's college fund. I'd told her it was locked until he turned 18. She wasn't happy. She didn't know the key was in my pocket. She thought it was in a safety deposit box. I grabbed my coat and drove to the library. I logged into my bank account. The trust fund was active. $147,322.14. I'd invested conservatively. The terms were simple. Ethan gets it at 18.
I'm sole truste.
No one else touches it. If I die, it passes directly to Ethan. But there was another clause I'd almost forgotten. The trustee may transfer the full balance to a named successor, who must be a direct descendant of the beneficiary, age 25 or older. That meant Derek.
Or me.
There was one more clause. A safeguard I'd insisted on. In the event of the trustee's death or incapacitation, the funds pass directly to the beneficiary at 18. No exceptions. I closed the browser and drove back to the motel. In the parking lot, I saw Brenda's SUV. She had followed me. I ducked down in my seat. She got out, phone in hand. She walked into the motel office. She was asking about me. 5 minutes later, she stormed out, furious. She hadn't found me. I hadn't checked in under my real name. I used my maiden name, Harper. She drove off. I went inside, locked the door, put the chain on. I called my lawyer, Mr. Patterson. "Old and trusted, Margaret," he sounded surprised. "It's almost 9. I need to change the trust. I'm removing myself as trustee. I'm naming Ethan the sole beneficiary, effective immediately. The bank holds the funds until he's 18. No family involvement." Silenced. "Margaret, that's unusual. Are you sure?" "I'm sure. Your son will." "My son will do nothing. This is my money. It's my grandson's future. I'm not letting anyone take it." He sighed. "I'll draft the papers. It'll take a few days. Are you okay?" "I will be." I hung up. I looked at the key one more time. They wanted me to stay away.
Fine.
I would stay away. But they would never touch this key. The next morning, the phone woke me. "Margaret, we have a problem." It was Mr. Patterson. His voice was tight. What kind of problem? Your daughter-in-law called my office. She somehow got my number. She demanded to know if you were changing the trust. I sat up fast. What did you tell her? Nothing. I told her I couldn't discuss client matters. But she threatened legal action. She said if you try to cut Derek out, she'll contest it. Let her contest it. The paperwork is clear. Margaret, she's hired a lawyer. A local one. I got a call from him this morning. They're filing a motion to freeze the trust. My blood went cold. They can't do that. They can try. They won't succeed, but they can drag it out. It'll cost you time and money. I looked at the key on the nightstand. Small and silver. Suddenly it felt heavy. How long do I have? A few days, maybe. If they file the motion, the bank will freeze the account until the court decides. That means Ethan won't get the money when he turns 18. It'll be tied up for years. My hands were shaking. I gripped the phone tighter. Then we file first.
Today.
I'm signing those papers. I'm removing myself as trustee and naming Ethan the sole beneficiary. The bank holds the funds with no family involvement. Margaret, you can't sign the papers if you're in a motel. You need to sign in front of a notary. You need to get those documents back to me by tomorrow afternoon. If we don't beat them to the filing, they'll freeze everything. Then I'll do it today. He hesitated. There's something else. Your daughter-in-law also called the bank. She told them you're unwell. Senile. She wants them to put a hold on any changes. I almost dropped the phone. She said I'm what? Senile. She's building a case that you're not mentally capable of managing the trust. If she gets a doctor to back that up, the court could appoint a guardian. Brenda would control everything.
Yes.
That's exactly what she wants. I got out of bed. My back ached. My hands were gnarled. I looked at myself in the motel mirror. Gray hair. Wrinkles. Tired eyes. Did I look senile? Is that what people saw? I'm not senile. I said, I know that, Margaret. But she's using your age against you. It's a common tactic. You need to act fast. I will. I hung up and called the bank directly. I asked for the trust department. A woman named Susan answered. Susan, this is Margaret Harper. I'm the trustee for the Ethan Harper trust account. Yes, Mrs. Harper. I recognize your voice. I need to change the trust terms. I'm resigning as trustee and naming the beneficiary as sole recipient. Effective immediately. There was a pause. Mrs. Harper, I received a call this morning from your daughter-in-law. She expressed concerns about your well-being. She asked us to flag your account for any unusual activity. She's lying. I understand, but I'm required to follow protocol. Any changes to the trust will need to be reviewed by our legal department. It might take a week. A week? I don't have a week. I'm sorry, Mrs. Harper. Those are the rules. I hung up. My heart was pounding. They had already frozen me out. Brenda had moved faster than I had. I sat on the edge of the bed. My head was spinning, but then I saw the motel notepad. It had a pen next to it. I grabbed it and started writing. I wrote down everything.
The trust.
The money. Brenda's threats. Derek's silence. Ethan's phone call. I wrote the dates. The times. I documented everything. I called Mr. Patterson back. The bank won't move without a legal review. They flagged my account because Brenda called them. Not surprising. She's playing dirty. Can you talk to them? Can you force the change? I can try. But Margaret, the fastest way to protect the trust is to sign the resignation papers and have a notary witness them. Once we have that, the bank's legal review becomes irrelevant. You're not asking them to approve anything. You're telling them you've resigned. It's a done deal. Where do I find a notary? Any UPS store. Any bank. Most have one on staff. Go to one now. I'll email you the documents. Print them, sign them, notarize them, and mail them to me overnight. Okay.
Okay.
I can do that. Margaret, one more thing. After you sign and notarize, you need to physically hand-deliver a copy to the bank. Not mail it. Walk in, hand it to Susan, and get a receipt. That way they can't say they didn't get it. Understood. I got dressed. I combed my hair. I looked at myself in the mirror again. I didn't look senile. I looked scared. But scared wasn't the same as weak that I drove to the nearest UPS store. I found a computer and logged into my emailed. Mr. Patterson's documents were there. 3 pages. I printed them. I read each line carefully. Trustee resignation. That was the first page. It said I, Margaret Harper, was resigning as trustee effective immediately. It named Ethan Harper as the sole beneficiary, with all funds to be held in a custodial account at Northwest Trust Bank until his 18th birthday. No family member would have any access. No one could petition for control. It was ironclad that the second page was the bank notification. It told the bank to follow the new terms without exception. The third page was a statement of medical competence. I had to sign it to confirm I was of sound mind. I looked at the blank line. My hand was steady. Are you the notary? I asked the clerk behind the counter. Yes, ma'am. I am. I filled out the paperwork. My handwriting was clear. I wrote every word with intention that the notary asked for my ID. I showed her my driver's license. She compared the photo to my face. Sign here, she said. I signed. She stamped it. She signed it. The deed was done. I paid the fee. I thanked her. I walked out of the store with the original papers in my hand. Next stop, Northwest Trust Bank. I got there at 11 a.m. The lobby was busy. Business people in suits. Women with strollers. I walked to the trust department. Susan was at her desk. She looked up when she saw me. Mrs. Harper, I didn't expect you to come in person. I'm resigning as trustee. I've signed the papers. They're notarized. I'm here to give you the original. I slid the folder across her desk. She opened it. She read the first page. Her face didn't change. This is unexpected. I'm old, Susan. Not senile. There's a difference. She looked at me. Mrs. Harper, I've seen a lot of families fight over money. It gets ugly. I know. Your daughter-in-law is desperate. She's already called us 4 times today. She wants to be named as a co-trustee. She's arguing that you're unfit. Then you know she's lying. Susan nodded slowly. I'm a banker. I don't take sides. But I'll tell you this. If you hand me this document, it's done. I'll process it today. Your son and daughter-in-law will have no legal standing to contest it. The account will be held in Ethan's name, with the bank as custodian. No family involvement. Then process it. She took the papers. She stamped them. She made copies. Please initial here, she said. I initialed. And here. I initialed. And sign here. I signed. Now, Susan said, let me give you something. She handed me a receipt. It said I had delivered the resignation papers. It had the date and time. That's your proof, she said. In case they claim you didn't. Thank you. I walked out of the bank. The sun was out. The rain had stopped. For the first time in days, I felt like I could breathe, but it wasn't over. I knew that. I drove to the grocery store. I bought a sandwich. I ate it in my car till my phone buzzed. It was a number I didn't recognize. I answered. Margaret, it was a woman's voice. Cold. Professional. Who is this? I'm Amy Burton. I'm Brenda's attorney. I've been retained to represent your son and daughter-in-law in matters relating to the trust. I don't have any business with you. You will. I'm filing a motion with the court this afternoon to freeze the trust. We have concerns about your mental capacity. Then you'll be wasting your time. I just resigned as trustee. I hand-delivered my resignation to the bank 10 minutes ago. The account is now solely in Ethan's name. You can't touch it. Silence. Mrs. Harper, you can't do that. I just did. You're making a mistake. Your son is devastated. He feels like you're punishing him. I'm protecting his son. If he's devastated, that's his choice. You'll be completely cut off. You know that, right? He'll never talk to you again. Then you should tell him to call me. Because right now, he's not talking to me anyway. I hung up. My heart was racing. But I felt strong that I drove back to the motel. I had to change rooms. Brenda knew where I was staying. I couldn't stay there. I checked out and drove to a Holiday Inn on the other side of town. I used cash. I checked in under Mrs. Harper in my new room. I called Ethan. Grandma, where are you? I'm safe, sweetheart. I want you to remember something. What? No matter what your mom and dad say, I love you. I've always loved you. I've always tried to protect you. Are you coming home? Not yet. But I will. When the time is right. Promise, promise. I hung up. I lay on the bed. I stared at the ceiling. Then the hotel phone rang. Room phone. That was strange. I picked it up. Mrs. Harper, this is the front desk. There's a woman here asking for you. She says she's your daughter-in-law. My whole body tense. Tell her I'm not here. I already did.
She didn't believe me.
She's asking for your room number. She's demanding to see you. Don't give it to her. Mrs. Harper, I'm going to call the police if she doesn't leave. Call them. I'll wait. I hung up. I sat by the door. I listened. I heard voices in the hallway. Brenda's voice.
Loud.
Angry. Where is she? I know she's here. Her car is in the parking lot. Ma'am, you need to leave. Don't tell me what to do. That's my mother-in-law. I have a right to see her. Ma'am, I'm calling the police. I heard the manager. I heard Brenda scream. Then I heard the door slam. Did I looked through the peephole. The hallway was empty. Did I sat down on the floor. I put my head in my hands. My whole body was shaking. I was a nurse. I'd seen people die. I'd held hands in emergencies. I'd been calm through crisis after crisis, but this was different. This was my family. My son, my grandson, and my daughter-in-law had become a stranger. I don't know how long I sat there. 15 minutes, maybe 20. Then my phone buzzed. A text from Derek. Mom, I need to see you. Please. Brenda is out of control. I know what she did. I'm sorry. Let me come to you. I stared at the message.
Part of me wanted to say yes.
Part of me wanted to let him in. But I remembered the motel. I remembered how he stood there and said nothing. I remembered how he always said nothing. Not today. I typed. I need time. You're right, he replied.
I'm sorry.
I'll fix this. I didn't believe him, but I wanted to. I turned off my phone. I closed my eyes. That night, I dreamed about Ethan. He was running toward me on a beach. He was laughing. I opened my arms. But before he reached me, he dissolved into fog. I woke up in a cold sweat. My heart was pounding. I reached for my phone. It was 3 a.m. There was a message from Mr. Patterson. Good news. The bank processed your resignation. The trust is locked in Ethan's name. No one can touch it.
Not even you.
It's done. I read the message 3 times. Done. I lay back down. The ceiling was white. The walls were white. Everything was white and sterile. I closed my eyes. And for the first time in days, I slept. I woke up to a knock on my hotel door. My heart jumped into my throat. I grabbed the key from under my pillow and tucked it into my bra. Then I looked through the peephole. It was Derek. Alone. I opened the door. He looked worse than the last time. Dark circles under his eyes. His shirt was wrinkled. He smelled like coffee and stress. Mom, I need to talk to you. Please. I stepped aside. He walked in. He didn't sit down. He just stood in the middle of the room, staring at the floor. I'm not going to apologize for what I did, I said. I protected Ethan. I know. He rubbed his face. That's why I'm here. Brenda wants me to fight you. She's been screaming at me for 2 days. She hired a lawyer. She wants to sue you for emotional damages or something. She's not sleeping. She's not eating. She's obsessed. Obsessed with what? The money. He looked up. She wanted that money, Mom. She had plans. She wanted to use it to buy a bigger house. She wanted to send Ethan to private school. She wanted to quit her job. So that's what this is about. I ruined her retirement plan. Derek sat down on the edge of the bed. He put his head in his hands. I didn't know. I swear. I thought she was just being protective. I thought she was worried about your health. Then I found the emails. What emails? He pulled out his phone. He scrolled and handed it to me. I read them. Brenda had been emailing her lawyer for weeks. Long before Thanksgiving. She was building a case against me. She had notes. She had dates. She had a list of my unstable behavior. She said I was forgetful. She said I was paranoid. She said I was a danger to myself and others. I looked at Derek. She was planning this.
She was.
I didn't know. Mom, I didn't know. What do you want from me, Derek? I want to fix this. His voice cracked. I want my son to have a grandmother. I want my mother back. I want my wife to stop being so angry all the time. She's not going to stop. I know.
He looked at me.
But maybe I can get her to back off. I told her I'd talk to you. I told her I'd try to get you to change the trust back. I shook my head. Ethan is the only one who will ever touch that money. Not Brenda.
Not you.
Ethan. I know. He nodded. I know, Mom. I'm not asking you to change it. I'm not asking you to give her control. I'm just asking you to stay. Stay in Ethan's life. Don't let her push you away. She already pushed me away. She's your daughter-in-law. She doesn't get to decide that. You're my mother. I get to decide that. And I'm saying you stay. I looked at my son. He was crying. Real tears. I hadn't seen him cry since his father died. Come here, I said. He stood up. I hugged him.
He was so much taller than me now.
But he felt like the same boy. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm so sorry. Me too, I said as we pulled apart. I handed him a tissue. What happens now? I asked. I have to go home. I have to talk to her. I have to make her see that this stops.
Right now.
She won't listen. She'll have to. I'm her husband. I'm Ethan's father. If she wants to destroy our family, she'll have to do it without me. He walked to the door. He paused. Mom, the lawyer she hired. She's not just any lawyer. She's a shark. She's going to try to break the trust. She's going to say you're incompetent. She might try to get you declared legally incapacitated. She can try. She will try. And she'll use me to do it. She'll put me on the stand.
She'll make me say things about you.
Things I don't believe. And I'm not going to do it. Then what will you do? He turned. I'll leave her. Before I let her destroy my family, I'll walk away. I stared at him. Don't say that unless you mean it. I mean it. He left. I sat on the bed. My hands were shaking. Derek had never said anything like that before. He had never stood up to Brenda. He had never even raised his voice. I didn't know if I believed him, but I wanted to. 2 hours later, my phone rang. It was Mr. Patterson. Margaret, I have some news. The motion to freeze the trust was denied. The judge said there's no basis. He called it frivolous. But that's not the only thing. What else? Brenda's lawyer is filing a new motion. This time, she's asking for a competency hearing. She wants a court-appointed doctor to evaluate you. She's claiming you're a danger to yourself. She's claiming the trust resignation was an act of mental instability. I felt the air leave my lungs. A competency hearing, they can do that, they can file it. Whether they win is another matter. But if they get a judge to agree, they'll appoint someone to evaluate you. A psychiatrist. They'll ask you questions. They'll look at your medical history. They'll talk to your friends and neighbors. That's insane. I'm not incompetent. I know. But the process itself is stressful. And Brenda knows that. She's hoping you'll give up. She's hoping you'll settle. What's the settlement? She wants half the trust. $100,000. She'll drop everything. My hands clenched into fists. Tell her no. Tell her I will fight this until I die. Margaret, I understand your anger. But litigation is expensive. It can take years. It can drain the trust dry. I don't care. It's not her money. It's not Derek's money. It's Ethan's money. No one gets it until he's 18. No one.
Not even me.
Tell her I'll take this to the Supreme Court if I have to. He was quiet for a moment. You know, you're a different woman than I thought you were. Most people fold. I've been folding for 40 years, I said. I'm done. I hung up. I sat in the hotel room and thought about my options. I could go home. I could wait for the hearing. I could let the lawyers fight it out. I could hope the judge was smart. Or I could do something else. I thought about Ethan. He was 9 years old. He had 7 more years before he turned 18. Brenda could try to destroy the trust for 7 years. She could file motions. She could appeal. She could drag this out until Ethan was old enough to hate all of us. I needed a different plan. I called the bank. I asked for Susan. Susan, it's Margaret Harper. I need to know something. If someone files a competency petition against me, can they freeze the trust? Not automatically. They'd need a court order. But if the judge agrees, the court could appoint a temporary custodian. That custodian would manage the trust until the hearing. Could Brenda be that custodian? No. Only if you were declared incompetent, and even then, the court would appoint a neutral third party. They wouldn't give it to a family member who has financial interest in the outcome. That's a conflict of interest. What if I transfer the trust to a different institution, a bank she doesn't know about? I wouldn't recommend that. Once a petition is filed, any transfer would be seen as suspicious. It could be used as evidence of mental instability. So I'm trapped.
For now.
But Margaret, I want to tell you something. I've worked in banking for 25 years. I've seen families tear themselves apart over money. But I've also seen grandmothers like you win. And you know why? Why? Because they don't give up. They don't let the bullies win. And in the end, the courts look at the facts. The facts are on your side. Thank you, Susan. If I were you, I'd start making friends with a good doctor. Someone who can evaluate you and write a report. If you have a doctor on your side, Brenda's case looks weak. Good idea. I'll find one. I hung up. I looked in the mirror. My gray hair. My tired eyes. My hands that had held 1,000 patients. I didn't look like a danger to anyone. Did I look like a grandmother who was just trying to protect her grandson? Did I called my primary care doctor? Dr. Chen. She'd been my doctor for 15 years. Margaret, she sounded surprised. I haven't seen you since your annual checkup. Is everything okay? No, Dr. Chen. I need your help. My daughter-in-law is trying to have me declared incompetent. She's trying to steal my grandson's trust fund. Silence. Margaret, that's serious. What's the background? I told her everything. The Thanksgiving. The motel. The trust. Brenda's lawyer. The competency hearing. I need a report from you, I said. I need you to evaluate me and certify that I am of sound mind. She hesitated. Margaret, I've known you for 15 years. You're one of the most competent people I've ever met. But I can't just write a report without an evaluation. You need to come in. I need to run some tests. Standard protocol. When can I come? Tomorrow.
9 Uhr morgens.
Can you be here? Yes. I'll be there. I hung up. I felt a little better, but I also felt scared. What if the test showed something? What if I did have memory problems? What if I was forgetting things and didn't know it? I couldn't think like that. I had to be strong. I spent the rest of the day in the hotel room. I watched TV. I ate room service. I called Ethan and told him I loved him. He told me about school, about his science project, about a new friend he'd made. Grandma, will you come to my science fair next month? I paused. I'll try, honey. I'll try. Okay, I'll show you my project. It's about volcanoes. I built a model. That sounds wonderful, Ethan. Daddy told me you were doing important things. He said you were busy. He said to be patient. I smiled. A real smile. Your daddy is right. I am busy. But I'm never too busy for you. Promise, promise. I hung up. I lay on the bed. I stared at the ceiling. I would go to the doctor tomorrow. I would fight Brenda. I would protect Ethan. And I would not give up. Because that's what grandmothers do. They fight. They protect. They never, ever stop loving. I woke up before my alarm. The hotel room was still dark. I lay there and listened to the silence. No traffic.
No voices.
Just the hum of the heater. Dr. Chen's office was 40 minutes away. I had time. I took a long shower. The water was hot. It felt good on my aching back. I dressed in my best clothes. A blue sweater, black slacks, comfortable shoes. I wanted to look capable. I wanted to look like someone who had her wits about her. I drove to the clinic. The parking lot was full. I found a spot in the back and walked through the rain. The waiting room was crowded. Couples. Elderly patients. A woman with a crying baby. I sat down and waited. Margaret, the nurse called my name. Dr. Chen is ready for you.
I followed her to the exam room.
Dr. Chen came in a few minutes later.
She was younger than me.
50-ish. Sharp eyes. Kind face. Margaret. Tell me everything. I told her. All of it.
The trust. The key.
Thanksgiving. Brenda. The lawyer. The competency hearing. Dr. Chen listened without interrupting. She nodded. She took notes. This is serious, she said when I finished. I've seen this before. Families trying to use competency claims to control money. It's a tactic. It's ugly. Can you help me? First, I need to run some tests. Standard cognitive assessment. Memory. Problem solving. Attention. It takes about an hour. Will it hurt? No. It's just questions. And maybe you'll even enjoy it. Some people find it fun. I laughed. A real laugh. I haven't had fun in weeks. Well, today's your lucky day. She ran the tests. She asked me to remember a list of words. She asked me to draw a clock. She asked me to count backward from 100 by sevens. I did it all. My hands were steady. My voice was clear. At the end, she reviewed the results. She looked up at me and smiled. Margaret, you scored in the top percentile for your age group. Your memory is excellent. Your problem solving is sharp. You are cognitively intact. Completely. There's nothing wrong with you. Nothing. Nothing. You're a healthy woman of 65. Your brain is doing exactly what it should. I felt tears come to my eyes. I was so scared. I was scared I might actually be slipping. Dr. Chen reached across and took my hand. You're not slipping. You're fighting. And I'll write a report that says exactly that. I'll certify that you are of sound mind and fully capable of managing your own affairs. Thank you. Thank you so much. I left the clinic feeling lighter than I had in weeks. I had proof. I had a doctor on my side. I had a fighting chance. I drove back to the hotel, but I didn't go inside. I sat in the parking lot and called Mr. Patterson. I have the report, I said. Dr. Chen evaluated me. She says I'm competent. She's writing a full report. Good. That's excellent. That completely undermines Brenda's case. What's the next step? We file the report with the court. We attach it to a motion to dismiss. We ask the judge to reject the competency hearing outright. When can you do that? Today. I'll file it this afternoon. Thank you. I hung up. I felt like I could breathe again, but I also knew Brenda wouldn't give up.
She wasn't the type.
She'd find another angle. She'd find another way to attack. I walked inside. I ordered lunch from room service. I ate a turkey sandwich and drank a soda. It tasted good. Better than anything I'd eaten in days. My phone buzzed. It was Ethan. Grandma, can I call you? I called him back immediately. Hey, sweetheart. Grandma, Mom is really mad. She's yelling at Daddy. I'm hiding in my room. My heart broke. Are you okay? I'm okay. But I don't like it. Why is she so mad? Because of grown-up stuff. It's not your fault. Are you coming to my science fair? It's in 2 weeks. I paused. I'll be there, Ethan. I promise. Really? I'll be in the front row. Okay. I'm going to win. I built the best volcano. I know you will, sweetheart. I hung up. I sat on the bed. I couldn't stay here. I couldn't hide in a hotel room forever. I needed to go home. I needed to live my life, but I also couldn't go back to Portland. Not yet. Brenda knew where I lived. She'd shown up there before. She'd show up again. I needed a new plan. I got on my phone. I looked up rental properties in Oregon. Small places. Quiet towns. Somewhere Brenda wouldn't find me. I found a little cottage in a town called Astoria, near the coast. 2 bedrooms. A porch.
Cheap.
Very cheap. I called the number. A woman answered. Hello, I'm calling about the rental. On Maple Street. It's available. When are you looking to move in? As soon as possible. I can show it to you tomorrow. Is that okay? Perfect. I hung up. I made a decision. I was moving. I was leaving Portland. I was leaving the motel. I was starting over. That night, I packed my suitcase. I didn't have much. A few clothes. My toothbrush. The trust fund key. I held the key in my hand. Small. Silver. Heavy with meaning. I'd carried it for weeks. I'd slept with it under my pillow. I'd tucked it in my bra. It was part of me. Now I put it in my coat pocket. I zipped it shut. The next morning, I drove to Astoria. The town was beautiful, small,
Quaint.
old houses, tall trees. The ocean was close. I could smell the salt. The cottage was even better than the pictures. Yellow paint, a white porch, a garden with roses. The inside was clean, simple. A kitchen with a wood stove, a living room with a fireplace, 2 bedrooms. I'll take it, I said. The woman smiled. It's all yours. First month's rent and a security deposit. I paid cash. I signed a lease. I moved in that day. I bought groceries. I made coffee. I sat on the porch and looked at the trees for the first time in weeks. I felt at peace, but I knew peace wouldn't last. Not with Brenda. 2 days later, I got a call from Mr. Patterson. Margaret, I have news. The judge dismissed the competency hearing. He said your doctor's report was conclusive. There's no basis to evaluate you. I smiled. That's good.
Wait.
That's not all. Brenda's lawyer is appealing. She's filing a motion to stay the dismissal. She's arguing that your doctor is biased. She's asking for an independent evaluation by a court-appointed psychiatrist. She's not going to stop, is she? No. She's determined. She will keep filing motions until either she runs out of money or you do. Then I'm going to make sure I outlast her. There's one more thing. She's also asking for a restraining order. She wants to prevent you from contacting Ethan. My heart stopped. A restraining order against me? She's claiming you're a danger to him. She's saying your obsession with him is unhealthy. She's saying you stalk her. You follow her. You call her repeatedly. That's not true. I've never done any of that. I know. But she's putting it in court documents. It looks bad. The judge might grant a temporary order until the hearing. When is the hearing? Next week. I need to see Ethan before then. I need to see him. I promised. Margaret, if you violate a restraining order, you could go to jail. Even if the order isn't granted yet, if she files it, you need to be careful. Don't do anything that looks like stalking. She's the one stalking me. She showed up at my hotel. She showed up at the motel. She followed me. I know, but the court doesn't know. Not yet. We need to present our evidence. We need to show the judge the truth. I hung up. My hands were shaking. I sat on my porch and looked at the sky.
It was gray.
Overcast. Typical Oregon. I thought about Ethan. 9 years old.
Bright. Sweet.
Running around in his backyard. Building his volcano. Waiting for his grandmother. I couldn't let her take him away. I couldn't let her win. I called Derek. Mom, are you okay? No, Derek. I'm not okay. Your wife is filing a restraining order against me.
She's trying to keep me away from Ethan.
She's lying to the court. I know, she told me. And he paused. I don't agree with her. I told her that. She didn't listen. She never listens. Then what are you going to do about it? I'm going to testify. At the hearing, I'm going to tell the judge the truth. I'm going to say you're not a danger to anyone. I'm going to say she's the one who's been lying. Will you really do that? Yes, Mom. I will. I've been weak for too long. I'm not going to be weak anymore. I felt tears come to my eyes. Thank you, Derek. I'm your son. It's my job to protect you.
I just forgot that for a while.
He hung up. I sat on the porch and cried. Not sad tears. Grateful tears. My son was coming back. The next few days were quiet. I unpacked. I arranged my furniture. I hung pictures on the walls. I made the cottage feel like home. I didn't call Brenda. I didn't call her lawyer. I waited. On the day of the hearing, I woke up early. I put on a navy blue suit. I combed my hair. I looked in the mirror. I looked serious. I looked ready. Mr. Patterson met me at the courthouse. He was carrying a thick folder. His face was calm. We've got a good case, Margaret. Your doctor's report is strong. Derek's testimony will be helpful. We also have the emails you found. The ones Brenda sent to her lawyer. They show she was planning this. Will the judge see them? Yes. I submitted them as evidence. The judge will read them. The courtroom was small. Wooden benches. A high ceiling. The judge sat at the front, an older man with glasses. Brenda's lawyer was there, the shark. Brenda was next to her, in a designer dress and expensive shoes. She looked perfect. She looked like she belonged. I sat down at the plaintiff's table. Derek walked in and sat near the back. He gave me a small nod. The hearing began. Brenda's lawyer stood up. Your Honor, we are here today because Margaret Harper poses a threat to my client's family. She has a history of obsessive behavior. She shows up uninvited. She buys expensive gifts to manipulate the child. She has told the child that his parents are not enough. She is actively undermining the parental authority. The judge looked at me. I kept my face calm. Ms. Burton, the judge said. Do you have evidence of this? We have testimony. My client, Brenda Harper, will testify. We also have a statement from a neighbor who saw Margaret outside the house multiple times. And we have a letter from a therapist who treated the child. A therapist, yes, Your Honor. The child's therapist said Margaret's behavior was concerning. I looked at Derek. He looked shocked. He didn't know about a therapist. The judge nodded. I'll hear the evidence. Ms. Burton, call your first witness. Brenda took the stand. She looked calm. She looked confident. She looked like she'd practiced this. Mrs. Harper, can you tell the court about your relationship with your mother-in-law? It's been difficult, Brenda said. She doesn't respect us as parents. She spoils Ethan. She says things to him that make him question our decisions. She gives him gifts that we specifically asked her not to give. Has she ever threatened you? Not directly. But she follows me. She showed up at my hotel. She calls my husband repeatedly. She won't leave us alone. Has she ever hurt Ethan? No. But she's confusing him. He doesn't know who to believe. He's young. He needs stability. And she's destabilizing him. I wrote a note to Mr. Patterson. Ask about the therapist. He nodded. Mrs. Harper, Mr. Patterson said when it was his turn. You mentioned a therapist. Can you name that therapist? Brenda's face twitched. I don't remember the name. You don't remember the name of your child's therapist? I remember. It's Dr. something. I'll have to look it up. Your Honor, I'd like to see the therapist's notes. I'd like to see the letter. The judge nodded. Ms. Burton, produce those notes. Brenda's lawyer looked flustered. Your Honor, the therapist's name is Dr. Miller. I'll get the notes and submit them. See that you do, the judge said. Next, the neighbor took the stand. A woman in her 60s. She said she'd seen me outside the house several times. She said I looked angry. Mrs. Anderson, Mr. Patterson asked, were you present when Margaret Harper was outside the house? No, but I saw her from my window. Did you hear what she said? No, I didn't hear anything. So, you don't know if she was angry, you don't know if she was upset. She looked angry. Your Honor, I submit that this is speculation. Mrs. Anderson cannot testify about my client's emotional state. The judge nodded. Noted. Then Derek took the stand. I held my breath. Mr. Harper, Mr. Patterson said. You're the son of Margaret Harper. You've known her your entire life. Yes. Has she ever threatened you? No. Has she ever threatened your wife? No. Has she ever threatened your son? No. Is she a danger to your family? No. She's my mother. She loves Ethan. She's always been a good grandmother. Brenda's lawyer stood up. Mr. Harper, aren't you biased? Isn't she your mother? Yes, she's my mother. But I'm also Ethan's father. And I'm telling you the truth. The judge wrote something down. Mr. Harper, Brenda's lawyer pressed. Your wife has told us that you have concerns about your mother's behavior. Is that true? Derek looked at Brenda. Then he looked at me. Brenda told me a lot of things. But they weren't true. She's been lying to me. She's been lying to the court. She's been trying to get access to my son's trust fund. That's what this is about. It's not about Ethan's safety. It's about money. The courtroom went still. Brenda jumped up. That's a lie. Order. The judge banged his gavel. Mrs. Harper, sit down. Brenda sat. Her face was red. The judge turned to Derek. Mr. Harper, are you saying your wife is lying? Yes, Your Honor. I am. She hired a lawyer. She filed motions. She tried to freeze the trust. She did all of it for the money, not for Ethan. The judge looked at Brenda's lawyer. Ms. Burton, Does your client have any financial interest in this trust? Brenda's lawyer opened her mouth. Nothing came out. I'll take that as a yes, the judge said. He looked at me. Mrs. Harper, you're free to leave. The restraining order is denied. I'm also dismissing the competency petition with prejudice. That means it cannot be refiled. I stood up. My knees were shaking. Thank you, Your Honor. You're welcome, Mr. Patterson. Good luck with your case. I walked out of the courtroom. Derek followed me to Mom. I turned around. He hugged me. I'm sorry, he said. I'm so sorry for everything. It's okay, Derek. It's over. It's not over. I'm leaving her. I'm going to file for divorce. Derek, are you sure? I've never been more sure. She's not the person I married. She's obsessed with money. She's obsessed with control. And I can't raise Ethan in that environment. What about Ethan? I'll get custody. I'll fight for him. He needs to be with someone who loves him, not someone who sees him as a cash machine. I hugged him again. I'll help you, I said. I'll do whatever it takes. I know you will. We walked out of the courthouse together. The rain had stopped. The sun was out. I thought about the trust fund key. It was still in my pocket. Safe. Secure. Still meant for Ethan, but something else mattered more. My son was back. My grandson would be safe. And I was done being pushed around. The divorce was final 6 months later. Derek got primary custody. Brenda got visitation every other weekend. She fought it. She screamed. She threatened to appeal. But the judge had seen enough. He gave Derek the house, the car, and most importantly, Ethan. I was in the courtroom the day it happened. I sat in the back row. Derek looked exhausted but relieved. Ethan sat next to him, holding his hand. Brenda stormed out without looking at anyone. Afterwards, Derek walked over to me to, Mom. It's done. I know. How are you feeling? Tired. But also free. I feel free for the first time in years. I hugged him. You did the right thing. I know. It just took me too long to see it. Ethan ran up to me. He threw his arms around my waist. Grandma, are you coming home with us? I looked at Derek. He nodded. Yes, sweetheart. I'm coming home. We drove to Derek's house. It felt strange to walk through the front door. The last time I was here, Brenda had kicked me out. Now she was gone. Her stuff was gone. The house felt empty, but also clean. Fresh. I'm going to redecorate, Derek said. New furniture. New paint. I want it to feel like ours. Can I help? I asked. Of course. You can pick the colors. I smiled. It felt good to be wanted. Over the next few weeks, I spent a lot of time at Derek's house. I helped him paint the living room. I helped him choose new curtains. I cooked meals. I did laundry. I was a grandmother again. And it felt wonderful. Ethan was happy. He was thriving. His grades improved. He was less anxious. He laughed more. Grandma, will you come to my science fair now? He asked one day. Of course, sweetheart. When is it? Next week. I finished my volcano. It's the best one in the whole class. I'm sure it is. The science fair was on a Thursday. I sat in the front row, just like I promised. Ethan stood next to his project. He wore a white shirt and a bow tie. He looked so grown up. This is my volcano project, he began. It's a model of Mount St. Helens. I built it with papier-mâché and baking soda and vinegar. When I mix the ingredients, it erupts. He demonstrated. The volcano foamed and bubbled. Red and orange foam spilled over the sides. The class clapped. He was so proud. I was proud too. So proud I could barely breathe. Afterwards, Derek and I took Ethan out for pizza. We sat in a booth. The pizza was hot and greasy. Ethan ate 3 slices. Grandma, can we go to the beach this weekend? Sure, honey. Can we bring my new kite? Of course. He smiled. He had a big smile. It made me forget all the pain of the past year. At that weekend, we went to the beach. The weather was cold, but it was clear. We flew kites. We walked in the sand. Ethan collected seashells. He ran ahead of us, laughing. I watched him, and I thought about the key. It was still in my pocket. Still safe. Still meant for him, but something had changed. The key didn't feel as important anymore. I had something better. I had my grandson. I had my son. I had my family. That when we got home, Derek sat me down. Mom, I need to ask you something. What are you going to do with the trust fund? I mean, it's in Ethan's name now. But what about you? Do you have enough money to live on? I looked at him.
He was worried about me. My son was worried about me.
That felt strange and wonderful. I have enough, I said. I have my nursing pension. I have Social Security. I have savings. I'll be fine. But you sold your house. You're renting a cottage. That's not permanent. I like the cottage. It's small, but it's mine. Mom, I want you to know something. When Ethan turns 18, he's going to have a lot of money. $147,000. That's life-changing money for a kid. I want you to make sure he uses it wisely.
He will.
I raised you, didn't I? I taught you about money.
He laughed.
You did. You taught me to save. You taught me to be careful. Then trust me. I'll make sure he's okay. I know you will.
He hugged me.
I felt his arms around me. He was strong. He was steady. He was my son again. The years passed quietly. I stayed in the cottage. Derek and Ethan visited often. We had holidays together. We had birthdays. We had ordinary days. Ethan grew tall. He grew smart. He became a teenager. He had girlfriends. He had football games. He had piano recitals. I went to all of them. When he turned 16, he got his driver's license. He drove me to the grocery store. He drove me to the beach. He drove me to the doctor. Grandma, you need to stop treating me like a kid, he said one day, then stop acting like one. I teased. He laughed. He had a deep laugh now. He was a man. On his 18th birthday, we had a party. Derek's house. All the family. His friends. His girlfriend. There was cake and music and balloons. I sat in the corner and watched him.
He was 18.
He was an adult. He had his whole life ahead of him. At the end of the party, I took him aside. I have something for you. I reached into my pocket and pulled out the key. What's this? He asked. It's the key to your trust fund. You're 18 now. It's yours. He stared at the key. Grandma, I know about the trust fund.
Dad told me. He told me everything.
He told me what Mom tried to do. Your mother was going through something. It's not your fault. I know. But she was wrong. She tried to take the money. She tried to push you away. She almost destroyed our family. She almost did. But she didn't. Because you and your father are strong. He took the key. He held it in his hand. Grandma, I don't want the money. I blinked. What? I don't want it. I mean, I'll take it. I'll save it. But I don't want you to think that's why I love you. I love you for who you are, not for what you can give me. I felt tears come to my eyes. I know, sweetheart. I know you love me. He hugged me. You were always there for me, he said. Even when Mom tried to keep you away. Even when Dad was confused. You never gave up on me. You never gave up on us. I never will. That's what family does. He pulled away. He looked at the key. I'm going to save this money. I'm going to use it for college. And after that, I'm going to invest it. I'm going to make sure it grows. And one day, I'm going to use it to take care of you. Take care of me. Don't look so surprised. You took care of me my whole life. It's my turn now. I laughed. I cried. I hugged him again. You're a good man, Ethan. A better man than I ever expected. Don't say that. I'm just your grandson.
No.
You're so much more. The party ended. Everyone left. Derek and I sat in the living room. He's a good kid. Derek said, I know. He's better than both of us. That's not hard. Derek laughed. We sat in silence for a moment. Mom, I want to say something. I never really thanked you for what you did.
For the trust fund.
For fighting Brenda. For not giving up. You already thanked me. I know, but I want to say it again. You saved us. You saved Ethan. You saved me from myself. All I did was protect what was mine.
No.
You protected what was his. There's a difference. And I don't know if I would have had the strength to do what you did. Strength isn't about being strong. It's about not giving up. Even when you're tired. Even when you're scared. You keep going. He nodded. I'm starting to understand that. I looked at the clock. It was late. I should go home. I have a long drive. Stay here tonight. There's a guest room. It's yours. I smiled. Okay. I slept in the guest room. It was comfortable.
Warm.
I fell asleep almost immediately. In the morning, I woke up to the smell of pancakes. I walked into the kitchen. Ethan was at the stove. He was wearing an apron. Grandma, I'm making breakfast.
Sit down.
I'll bring you a plate. I sat down. He brought me a stack of pancakes with maple syrup and butter. He brought me coffee. He brought me orange juice. This is perfect, I said. Only the best for my grandma. I ate the pancakes. They were good. Fluffy and sweet after breakfast. Ethan drove me home. He walked me to the door. Grandma, I want to tell you something. What? Thank you. For everything. For the trust fund. For never giving up. For being the best grandmother anyone could ask for. I hugged him. Thank you for being the best grandson. He hugged me back. Then he drove away and I stood on the porch and watched him go.
He was 18.
He was driving a car. He was going to college in the fall. He was an adult, and I was still his grandmother. Still in his life. Still part of his future. I walked inside. I sat on the couch. I looked at the key. It wasn't in my pocket anymore. I had given it to Ethan.
It was his now.
I didn't miss it. I didn't need it. I had everything I needed. I had my son back. I had my grandson. I had my family. That the trust fund key had been a symbol of control, a symbol of greed, a symbol of a battle. But in the end, it was just a key. And I was so much more than a key. That I thought about all the years I'd spent fighting, all the tears, all the sleepless nights, all the times I'd wanted to give up, Dad, and I was glad I didn't, because now I had the one thing Brenda could never take away.
Love.
Real love. Not bought with money, not bought with gifts. Just love. Pure.
Simple.
Unbreakable. I looked at the front door. In a few minutes, Derek would pick me up. We were going to have lunch. Just the two of us. Mother and son. I smiled. I didn't know what the future would bring. But I wasn't afraid anymore. I had faced the worst, and I had won. I walked to the door. I opened it. The sun was bright. The air was fresh. I stepped outside and started my life. The key was never the point. Family is the only key that matters. What would you have done in my shoes? Share your story in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories about family, betrayal, and the strength of a grandmother's love.